A lot of people talk about how to find beta readers and what your process is for running or working with beta readers, but not a lot of people talk about when to get beta readers. So that's what I want to talk about right now. When we're talking about a timeline for getting beta readers, there's really two times. There's before you finish your book. Why would you want to get a beta reader before your book is finished? Well, you would want to get a beta reader before your book is finished when you're giving your beta readers each chapter as you finish each chapter of a nonfiction book or your novel so that you can get feedback in the middle of writing your book and you can self correct the trajectory of your story or of the nonfiction book along the way. That's the first season or early season, I call it, of getting a beta reader. Now, the second big time you can get a beta reader is when your book is actually finished, at least a first draft. That's when most writers get beta readers, and bring beta readers on is after the book is finished, at least that first draft. I definitely think it makes sense to use beta readers before you submit query letters to authors if you're traditionally publishing. If you're self publishing, I think it makes a lot of sense to get beta readers after you finish your first draft. Also, maybe after you have polished that draft a few times and before you upload your book to Amazon or Barnes and Noble or Smashwords or wherever you're selling your book, online, even on your website, is to get a final check for through some beta readers. It can be really important. So when we're talking about timing of getting beta readers, I think it makes sense to talk about who you're getting. There's a when and there's a who. Before your book is finished, before it's at a final draft, let's say, a lot of writers say they'd like to have beta readers who are writers themselves, who understand the technical mechanics of a story or of at least putting a nonfiction book together. So there's writers who are also beta readers. And before your book is in a sort of final stage of readability for the public, I suggest that you get writers to also be your beta readers. They're going to help you understand the plot holes, the narrative problems, the character inconsistencies with fiction. They're also going to catch more of your grammar and spelling errors and help you just organize your nonfiction book. After you've completed your first draft and you've even polished that draft a couple times with your own self editing, maybe you've had other writers be your early beta readers, now it's time to do that late stage or that second type of beta readers, which are just readers who are not writers. They are going to be sort of like your test audience for your book. And I think it makes a lot of sense to get these types of beta readers who are just readers themselves. They're not writers. They're not going to focus on the technical mechanics, the tools, and the tricks that writers use on the page or in the story. They're just going to react very emotionally to the writing and the words that are on the page. And they are going to let you know how the public is going to more than likely respond to your book. That brings us squarely back to the question when to get beta readers. So I think there's a beta reading recruitment stage, and I think there's a beta reading running stage or a time when you actually bring your beta readers on and you give them your book and you set out timelines and you talk about expectations and when they might get back to you and the kind of things that you want them to do for you. And that's more of the process of working with the beta readers. But I want to focus on the when. I think that it makes sense to get beta readers, at least start recruiting beta readers as early as possible. Time is of the essence and it's going to run out. The last thing you want to do is finish a first draft and then start looking for beta readers. That's going to slow you down. But now, when do you actually bring in your beta readers to actually hand them the manuscript and have that conversation about expectations and what you want from them and when you want their feedback? return to you. As soon as you start writing your manuscript, I think it's helpful to start recruiting beta readers and then give them updates along the way. So if it takes you 6 months or a year to write your first draft, which isn't that unreasonable to think about, then I think it's helpful to start month one when you start writing to also look for beta readers, give them updates along the way throughout the year. And then when you're about 3 months from finishing, at the latest 1 month from finishing your first draft, I think it's helpful to check back in with the beta readers and see, are they still on board? Life gets busy, jobs change, there's holidays, there's a lot of reasons why a beta reader who was gung ho and eager to help you 6 or 12 months ago might be too busy. Recruit beta readers as early as possible, but about 1 to 3 months before you finish that first draft, check back in with your beta readers to just see, are they still available? Are they still in? And can they still beta read for you? And then once you finish, as soon as you finish that draft, hand them the manuscript, have that whole conversation we talked about. That's when you bring your beta readers on to actually start getting feedback. That's it for this video, guys. Please like and subscribe if you're not already a part of the channel. I talk about all kinds of things about writing and making money online. Check out my other videos. There's also going to be a link in the description to an article that I'm writing about this topic of writing when to get beta readers. So check that out. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll see you at the next video.